according to Kyle Shanahan, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to miss a couple weeks with a calf injury. Now, if this is a calf injury that, if you remember, Michael Gallup suffered, he's out for at least 4 weeks. So that means Trey Lance is going to have to start. Because Trey Lance was the guy who came in as his replacement. They don't really have anyone else. So, you have to find a way to get him on the roster. You got to find a way to play him. Which is not an easy task because they'll play Arizona next week. So, the intrigue is at an all-time high. Big Ben becomes the 8th quarterback in league history to pass for over 400 yards. As we saw yesterday, Aaron Rodgers threw 420 touchdowns. So he ends up tying, or in somewhat passing, Dan Marino for most passing touchdowns. Where Big Ben Roethlisberger ended up passing Marino for passing yards. Now, the problem I have with Big Ben is this. Big Ben is old. He's 39. The team's not what it used to be. And we've seen what we've seen from Tom Brady is you can be a very good older quarterback with the weapons around you. The problem is this. It's not the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers don't have weapons. They can't run the ball at all. And when they can, it's very minuscule. The CBS crew brought up that Najee Harris has more receiving yards than rushing yards in the season. Which I don't even know how you can fathom that. That's unbelievable. So, they don't have a running game. Their defense is on the field too long. TJ Watt is banged up. It's not going to work much if Big Ben doesn't get some help. Teddy Bridgewater is in concussion protocol after taking a big shot last night where he just took a shot to the head and he got concussed and he was on the ground and he has his hands up in the air. It didn't look good. They put Drew Lock in, which to me Drew Lock is an okay quarterback. He makes a lot of mistakes, so I'm not happy by that front. But at that time, you need to get the best guy you can that is on your roster, and that was Drew Lock. Mac Jones was impressive against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, even though it was a loss, and we'll bring that up in the game recap. But I was impressed by Mac Jones. There was one interception I think the ball got away from him. It was a high throw. It ended up getting tipped. He was under pressure. He ended up throwing the ball. And he got tipped. It was kind of a little bit of a high throw. And Antoine Winfield ended up making a good play on the ball and getting an interception. But Mac Jones was on all night. I think they had on the telecast 18 completions, ties a rookie quarterback record that has lasted for over the last 30 years. So that's an impressive feat, especially in only your 4th ever game in the NFL. Lions pass rusher Romeo Okwara is believed to have torn his Achilles, which there's a lot of Achilles injuries this year. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's almost like every year you have an injury that just comes up more and more. Sometimes it's an ACL, sometimes it's an elbow injury, sometimes it's a wrist injury. You know, in this situation, it's an Achilles. We've seen a lot of Achilles injuries this year. That's not completely uncommon of an injury. It's just an injury you're like, what can you do? What can you do? There's not much you can do. It's a terrible injury to come back from. Justin Fields wins his first game as Bears quarterback against the Lions. Now, if you listen to Bears fans, they said this was the proper time to put it in field around this game. And I don't completely agree. I do think this. I said that you should give Andy Dalton 1 month as the quarterback. He ended up getting hurt. That happens. You put in Justin Fields, didn't play well against Cleveland because that was a big game that he wasn't going to be ready for. Cleveland's too good, they're too fast, and the Bears aren't that kind of team. So that's on Fields' part. On Nagy's part, that was the reason why people were calling for his job. They were trying to run the same offense that they ran with Andy Dalton. You can't do it. It doesn't work that way. They're not the same guy. They're not the same quarterback. Justin Fields is a running quarterback. Get him out of the pocket. Let him make plays. Run the ball. You have David Montgomery. You can run the ball. And that's what they did. They ran the ball, controlled the clock, gained first downs, scored some touchdowns, and they got Justin Fields the win. His first win in the NFL, and it comes in front of the Soldier Field crowd. The AFC Player of the Month are Derek Carr, and this is, I'm only counting offensive and defensive players. So, Offensive Player of the Month for the AFC was Derek Carr, which, that's undeniable. He's probably been the best player in the AFC so far. Von Miller, which I agree too. I think Von Miller's had a great year coming back from an injury that he suffered last year. For the NFC, best player they have is Cooper Kupp. To me, I don't think it's Cooper Kupp. I think it's Matt Stafford. I think it's his teammate. I don't think it's Cooper Kupp, but I could see how they're trying to say, well, Cooper Kupp's done well, but I think Matt Stafford's the Player of the Month for September. And the Defensive Player of the Month for the NFC is Trayvon Diggs, who, before the game against Carolina, ended up having a total of 3 interceptions in the last 3 games. After the game against Carolina, he has a total of 5 interceptions in 4 games.